have a government that doesn't care about disabled people. I'm Mick Whelan, I'm the General-Secretary of the Train Drivers Union, ASLEF. I'm standing with my colleagues and my friends to make our point that after 4 years we need a pay rise.
And the pay rise that you've been offered is 4%. How was that received by your members?
It wasn't a pay rise. We entered into a process with the employers because we work in a privatised industry. We don't work for the government. The people that we work for signed a rather corrupt and immoral deal with the government that they wouldn't offer us a pay rise. So we spent the first few months being told by the people that we work for, you have to talk to the government. We went and spoke to the government, they said you've got to talk to the employer, we don't negotiate. Then eventually we balloted for industrial action and did what we felt was necessary. And then, having agreed a framework about how we would operate and what we did, out of the blue and outside of that framework, a pay deal was released to the press after being sent to us 16 minutes beforehand, right, which contained many of our red lines and has set the whole process back at least 6 months.
Why do you think you're being pushed around or bandied about like this?
Well, people are playing the politics of envy. I mean, all we heard is a demonisation of train drivers about the salaries that they earn. Surely this isn't a race to the bottom. This is about all workers having a decent level of salary. I want nurses, I want firefighters, I want teachers, I want everybody that's out on strike today in solidarity to have what we have. But if we don't have it and we don't get a pay rise, are we going to be here for 5 years or 10 years before we're allowed to have one? Will they expect us to use the food banks in the places where we work as other people are forced to do? I think this government's got to listen. This is every sector now, industrial and vocational, now coming out on strike, right, and standing with each other. Every family in the country understands what's going on and what is needed, and it's time for this government to do something.
You've joined around 500,000 people who've gone on strike today. I mean, what do you think that says about the state of the UK at the moment?
It says that we've had 12 years of economic illiteracy by a government that's caused this problem, and isn't it strange? Right, that all the people that give back to their communities, that generate for each other, can't have a pay rise, but we can lift the cap on bankers' pay. So, you know, the only people that can have a pay rise are the bankers and the directors. The only people, not the people that go to work every day, not the people that spend their money in the shops and generate for the economy, not the people that use the hospitality, not the people that, you know, build tourism, build everything where we go. Not the people who look after our children, not the people who educate our children, not the people that heal us, right? Not the people who get people from A to B, but the people who've got an inordinate amount of finances can have a greater protection while other people are expected to make do.
I mean, we're in a cost of living crisis and your members will have had to take a day of no pay today. I mean, how are they coping with that?
Well, strange enough, under these rather draconian laws that we've got, we've had to reballot. And most of the ballots came in just before Christmas, and we were running at 92 to 99% in favour, and it came in 1% on average higher. So that tells you the strength of the voice of the people that I represent, that they believe they're in it for the wrong haul, and they believe that they're going to stay there for how long it takes.
You say that the draconian measures that we have currently on unions. There's also anti-strike legislation that's going through Parliament at the moment. I mean, what do you make of all of that? We
already had the worst strike laws in Western Europe outside of Lithuania. Very much we're looking at a place where you've got the protest bill, the trade union bill, you've got this new legislation, and if you look at what happened in Spain and Germany and Italy in the mid-30s, these are all tactics that we use. I hope we're not drifting in that sort of society.
Just moving on to the actual dispute itself, a lot of it, the coverage is passenger focused. I mean, what would you say to passengers who can't get the train today? Do you think it really is about them, or is it about striking workers?
But those passengers are workers. You know, and for the first time ever, we've had approval ratings for what we're doing. Normally we have a transport strike. The very people that we poll normally that want safer, cleaner, cheaper railways are the people then go 95% the other way. But at this moment in time, we've seen polls out this week across the board that saying striking workers and union workers have the support of others. That tells you that there's been a change of view at grass level roots. And I send solidarity and unity to every other striking worker out today, this week, next week and in the future. Because if we don't stand up for ourselves, who will?
You had a small success in that driver-only operations has been taken out of the current negotiations. But do you think that some of these cost-cutting measures that are being put into the new offers being made to you, do you think they're going to affect disabled people, elderly? How do you think it's all going to work out?
We have a government
that
doesn't care about disabled people, right? The reality is we've got Victorian infrastructure, we don't have enough step-free access, right? We have a rather anti-social world. Before the pandemic, we were talking about the high increase of sexual assaults in our railway. We were talking about county lines. We were talking about acid attacks, right? People want a visible presence, right? So every member of our community can use the railway effectively. So we need guards on trains, we need people in booking offices, and we need drivers left to do what they do, drive trains safely.
So, I mean, to the argument of automation, which I suppose a lot of the right-wing tabloids are pushing for, what would you say to that?
Well, unfortunately, with our Victorian infrastructure, and if we've got no money for pay rises, we definitely don't have enough money to convert the whole of the railway into an automated railway. But what we should be doing is electrifying a lot, decarbonising a lot, putting mass passenger and mass freight on rail, and actually building for our communities, right, and our children's futures. Prior to the pandemic, for every £1 you invested in railways, £5 came back to the economy. Even in the post-pandemic world, for every £1 you invest in transport, £2 comes back to the economy. You do not have to run railways or buses or anything at a profit. What you have to do is get people around to do tourism and business that grows every sector.
What would your message to the government today be?
Listen.
Thank you very much.